So the question number 92, consider the following statements regarding the ends of the pressure vessels flanged by pre-tensioned bolts. Which of the above statements are correct? So this is related to what you call it as pre-tensioned bolts. So why we use pre-tensioned bolts here? So when you go for this particular one, so obviously what is meant by the pre-tensioned bolts? Whenever you want to make a opening or a closing, so in order to avoid the leak proof, so we will be using a gasket material here. And when you use the gasket material and use the bolt here, so we will be using the bolt at this particular level. So when you use the bolt has to be tightened so that the gasket will avoid the leakage. But when you tighten it, so obviously this is subjected to what you call it as preloading or pre-tensioned. So it will be subjected to a preloading or pre-tensions. And if you try to see this particular one, so the options based on this particular one will be, so the first option is says the pre-tensioning helps seal the pressure vessels. That means it says that if you load it preloading, so it will avoid the leakage of the pressure vessels. So as per this particular one, so obviously this is to be tightened to compress the gasket material, so which is essential, preloading is essential to avoid leakage. So this first statement stands for, it is the correct statement for this particular one. And the second statement, pre-tension reduces the maximum tensile stress in the bolts. So what is meant by maximum tensile stress in the bolts? So let us say if it is subjected to what we call as, let us say, some pressure, but when you take an example like IC engine, so in the IC engine this pressure will not remain constant. From top dead center to bottom dead center the pressure varies, and when the pressure varies between two limits, let us say P1 to P2, so when the pressure varies between these two, so the load on the bolt will be equal to, so it is the pre-tension bolts, so the what is called initial tensioning of load plus C times of the load on this. So when this is varying between two limits, let us say P1 to P2, so this may be the maximum on the bolt and this will be the minimum on bolt. So when you go by this particular one, that means now if anywhere, if the bolts in the pressure vessels are subjected to fluctuating loads, so the maximum load on the bolt and the minimum load on the bolt will be in this particular way. Now let us say if there is no gasket or if there is no pre-tensioning in this particular one, this will not avoid this, but under any circumstances this value will reduce is not possible, it actually increases the load. So if you go by this, so the maximum load will be increased in this particular one, so which is the wrong statement here. So the maximum load will not be decreased here, the pre-tensioning reduces the maximum tensile stress in the bolts in one way is wrong. But third statement, when you go for the third statement, pre-tensioning countermands the fatigue life of the bolts. So in this particular one, so it is countermands means, so it reduces the negative effects. Countermand means reduces the negative effects. So when you go by this particular one, countermanding means reducing the negative effects. So obviously when you go by this, the maximum and minimum load will be in this particular way, but the mean load will become and the average load will be, basically it is maximum plus minimum by 2, which more or less remains same with pre-tensioning and others. But when you go by this, maximum minus minimum by 2, so which significantly reduces the what you call it as SV. Due to this particular one, it greatly reduces. Pre-tensioning countermands the fatigue life of the bolts is correct. So pre-tensioning helps to reduce the deleterious effect of pressure pulsations in pressure vessels. Even the same explanation will give you. Fourth is also is the correct. So if you go by this particular one, so first is the correct statement, then second is wrong statement, third and fourth are the correct statements. So if you go by this, so the option for this particular one is, so 1 is the right option, 3 is the right option, and 4 is also right option. So the answer for this particular one is 1, 3 and 4 is B. The option for this is 1, 3 and 4 is the right option for this particular one.